Hey guys, what's going on? It's Dan Gheesling. Welcome to episode 20 of the Dan Gheesling podcast. Let me start things out by saying Happy New Year to you. Hope you guys have a great end of 2018 and a fresh 2019. And thank you so much over the past year for plugging in your ear pods, maybe listening on sync or wherever on Bluetooth on your car or transit, wherever you are. Thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast. I truly appreciate it. It's been a great thing, and I've really enjoyed it and enjoying your feedback, hearing that you guys look forward to it, things you've learned from it. And so I'm super excited. In today's episode, we're going to talk about my reaction and thoughts on this whole ninja thing, which we'll get into, and the top 10 things that we did and learned from in 2018. Not things that were nice, but just things that were important looking back that we physically did. But with that, before we jump into that, let's talk about this ninja situation, because it's something that when I woke up when it first happened and saw it on Twitter, I'm like, is this really happening? Are people that upset about this? So let me paint the picture for you if you have no idea what I'm talking about. So Ninjas is the biggest creator on Twitch, the most popular and most well-known. And so Twitch is having this big New Year's Eve event in Times Square. They've put a lot of money in the advertising. I'm sure they've done a lot in production. So they've just set this event up to be probably their flagship event, maybe their most promoted event of all time. They spent a lot of money on the advertising to get people to watch this event in various different fashions. Let me give you an example. Ninja was on Jimmy Fallon to talk about this event. That just doesn't happen. You don't just call up Jimmy Fallon and say, hey, if you're Twitch, hey, can you put on Ninja to talk about this event we're promoting? It doesn't work that way, at least for that type of situation. So there's a lot of campaigns and money that goes into that sort of thing. And so it's been interesting to see how much they've put into it, which is exciting, but I'll get into my perspective. Let me finish painting the picture of what happened. So in addition to spending all this external money, Twitch started running ads on their own platform. It's important to note that this Twitch event is not on twitch.tv/Twitch or anything like that, or twitch.tv/Red Bull. It's on twitch.tv/Ninja. So it's on Ninja's channel. And all this money and promotion is going into people going to Ninja's stream. There's a couple reasons for that, but we'll talk about that in a second. So in addition to running all these ads, they started running ads on their own platform. So if you were to tune into one of your favorite streamers, Jimmy Bob 1234, and you might have seen a pre-roll ad saying, hey, on New Year's Eve, go to twitch.tv/Ninja and join us for this big event. And all of a sudden, some broadcasters on the platform starting to get upset because it was essentially Twitch, the way they saw it, Twitch was telling their audience to go watch someone else on New Year's Eve. And right when I saw this, I was like, my personal opinion is that you don't waste energy on things you can't control. But I will say this, I'm going to quote roughly, it's not a verbatim quote, but Rockley Smile, one of our buddies in the group on Twitter, he went kind of ham and I was like, dang, Nick, you kind of hit the nail on the head. He essentially said, if you're a broadcaster and you're threatened by Twitch spending money or running pre-roll ads for someone to go watch another channel, then maybe you should spend some more time with your community and get to know them if you're that concerned they're going to flee you for this event long term. And I agree with that. It's like, hey, and another thing that's not even been talked about is that if Twitch is running pre-roll ads on your channel, as a broadcaster, you get paid for that, number one. And number two, for me, if someone were to come into my channel and said, hey, I just saw a pre-roll ad for Ninja's event, I'm like, cool. I'm looking forward to watching it too. Now, I know it's a little short-sighted because let's say, well, Dan, what if you're a broadcaster who's broadcasting on New Year's Eve and you have your own big event? Well, my take on that is that make your event the best it can be and focus your energy on that. And then maybe that person won't go to Ninjas. Or if they do, they'll come back because you're doing something special besides just hitting the green button on stream and just doing what you normally do. That's my take on it. However, on a macro level, on a higher level, I think it's great for the platform. The fact that Twitch is willing to pump all this money and run this event. Because look, let's be honest here, and I think Ninja's aware of this. You got a timeline, right? And especially I think for someone like Ninja who caught fire, right? I think he's always going to be really popular. I just don't know, you know, if it's going to be running at that top line, because what happens when Fortnite dies down? And he's aware of that. At the same time, is Ninja going to ever go away? No, but is he going to have those kind of numbers all the time, you know, hundreds of thousands or whatever people watching him? No. So it's like during these moments, you got to take advantage of that. And I think Twitch is doing that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. While this star is burning bright, get as many people to watch it as possible. And I don't say this in a way that's like Ninja's going to flame out or anything, but you know, when Fortnite dies down, I'd imagine he's going to see like a tick down, you know, and who knows how long Fortnite could be popular for a decade. Who knows? But I'm just saying, while it's like at this height, you do stuff around it. It's good for Twitch, right? It's going to bring new people into Twitch. And I made this statement on Twitter. I said, a rising tide raises all boats. And that's just my mindset, right? If things are going well for my friends, or it's good for everyone. They're going to be happier. And that's like on a really, really micro level. On a macro level, if this event goes really well, guess what happens? There's going to be a lot of headlines, a lot of PR, a lot of new people watching Twitch. So now all of a sudden you have all these new viewers on Twitch. And do I say there's 100,000 new viewers on Twitch? Do I think all 100,000 of them are going to go explore other Twitch channels? No. Do I think a percentage amount of them are? Yes, and that's good for Twitch. And the reason is that, you know, some people are going to check out other channels. Some people are going to become fans of Twitch. But is it going to be everyone? No, and that's okay. And I think back to something that stuck out in my head by one of the few people that I follow. His name's Gary Vee. He always talks about 1 is greater than 0. Is there a chance that one person is going to stick around Twitch and look at other channels? Yes, then if so, it's worth your time. And that's kind of how I look about things internally about our Twitch show and our community. If we do a show and it's a good show and one new person joins the channel or joins the community, or, you know, comes back and watches again, I'm excited about that. You know, sometimes you hear about people say, oh, you know, I'm trying to get 100 follows today, or 100 new people join the show, but it was only 20 new people. To me, that's you set yourself up in a bad way on a twofolds. One, you're growing, and two, you're marginalizing the 20 people that may have just joined your show, and you're looking at them as numbers and not actual individuals, which is, to me, it's not how I go about doing it. If there's new people in the community, I'm excited, you know, whether it's 1 or 100 or 1,000, because that's the end goal, right? You be able to do this full time, like heavy full time, and the way you do that is one at a time. It's like one of my favorite sayings: if you find yourself trapped in a jail cell, but instead of concrete, it's made entirely out of birthday cake, how do you get out? You get out one bite at a time, and you're not going to eat it all at once, and you're not going to build your community in one night, but the prolonged effort and dialed in, it's going to work. And I feel like a lot of people are, you know, can be short-sighted, and with like a little small change in your perspective, all of a sudden you're more optimistic and you're focused on a really long-term goal. But it takes a lot of effort, and you got to be okay with that. And some people aren't, and I respect that as well. But for me, anything, whether you're trying to grow on Twitch or YouTube, or whatever, if you want to grow a business or whatever it is you want to play piano, it's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight. And if you're, what I like to say, your why, or if your goal or your internal drive is aligned for the right reason, because you enjoy doing it or something you're passionate about, then you'll be able to do a 10, 15, 20-year grind because you enjoy doing it, versus if you're doing it for tertiary reasons or secondary reasons like money or fame or things like that. So other couple points on this to kind of wrap it up is that the other thing you see a lot, I saw a lot of broadcasters complaining, and to me, complaining is a waste of time. You complaining on Twitter is not going to change the fact that Twitch is doing what they're doing. You have no impact on Twitch's marketing budget, their objectives they're trying to hit. So if you were to take that time on focus and do what you can actually do and what you can affect, you know, that's what matters. And it's really a binary, you know, but the thing is, I get why people are upset. I can understand why. What Twitch is doing by running pre-rolls, it's not exactly a white hat thing, right? You know, it may be a little bit questionable. They're not doing anything ethically wrong or morally wrong, but just kind of like, you know, from that standpoint, I get it. But at the same time, it just doesn't matter to me because it's binary, right? The question to me is, by complaining and focusing on that, even if you are running a New Year's Eve event, by complaining, are you growing your channel and making your show better? The answer is no. So if you're not doing that, spend your time doing that and you'll see more results. The other thing is, can you change that? Yes or no? That's another binary thing. Can you change it physically? Can you change it? No. And the other question is, does it even affect you? And I'd say mediocre, it affects you. Like the only way it affects you is if you're running a New Year's Eve event day stream for one day. And then it's going to affect you maybe one day and not 100% of your audience. But to me, that's still so short-sighted and short-term versus I look at it long-term. The benefit for this for all broadcasters is huge at the long term. Twitch is making a grab to go out and get new people on the platform, which all broadcasters will benefit from if they run a great show and if they're consistent and if they work on their craft. So that's kind of my take on that. I know people have differing opinions. People, said things like trickle down doesn't affect, and it's not really applicable to that. But to me, it's just, I think it's great overall for the platform. Anything that brings new viewers to Twitch, I think is great for all broadcasters, regardless of what it is, outside of it being, something, derogatory or actually harmful towards Twitch, which I think this event is going to be great. I feel like it's a push, I can't say I think the idea of it's great. We'll see if the execution of it's great, how it's responded to is great, and if it brings in new viewers. I think the idea of it is great. We'll see how it all executes in the end. Outside of that, I did want to finish up this podcast or the year-end podcast by doing the top 10 things we physically did for the channel, for the community, for what we're trying to do here. And so I'm going to go through these. And it was a lot easier to put together than I thought, putting this list together. All right, so we're going to start with number 10. Number 10, over the past year, I became open to doing Star Citizen videos again. And I feel like that was pretty important because I think internally, I was a little burnt out from it. And, I always felt, on a weekly basis, I would always hear, hey, Dan, when are you doing Star Citizen again? When are you starting doing Star Citizen again? And I don't say I wasn't open to it. But I guess I wasn't, and over the past couple months as Star Citizen has developed, I've physically started creating videos on a daily basis again for Star Citizen, did that and realized it wasn't it. But I'm open now to doing them in a one-off capacity and doing that. So I think that was pretty big, almost like a weight lifted off my shoulders and saying, hey, you have that color on your palette. You can dip into it every now and then and still be fired up about it, but not feel like you have to do a video every single day by touching on that video, if that makes sense. Another big thing that happened in 2018, I'm 99% sure it happened in 2018. Number 9 was moving Team Unity to live stream format. So for March of last year, so it did happen in 2018. March of last year, 2 Marches ago, we started doing Team Unity videos. And this March will be, 2 years. Anyways, we only did them YouTube exclusive. And as things have evolved and the audiences have moved, I don't say moved because that's not an accurate statement, but as the audiences of Team Unity has grown on Twitch, we said, let's start doing it on Twitch. And so I think bringing that to Tuesdays and bringing Team Unity Tuesday to the live stream to Twitch has been a benefit for everyone involved. And I think it's been a lot of fun. And with the only caveat, and I'll put the star on it, is I still am working on how to best manage that. But I think in 2018, that was the number 9 top thing that we did, to help grow the channel and move things forward on both capacities. The number 8 thing may surprise people. The number 8 thing is I'm appreciative and excited and learned a lot from actually selling merch in-house, going through that process, going through the process of having an expectation sales-wise, not hitting that expectation, being disappointed, talking about being disappointed about it, but yet still learning from the process. And then to have that kind of flipped upside down and really being intrigued by an ancillary, crazy upside of seeing people being face to face or pictures of people being excited about getting the merch. And that was like an unexpected top thing that happened, and definitely being open and doing it again. And it caused so many other other things to shoot off that have risen to importance, creating a logo, getting the branding down a little bit more. All that stuff wouldn't be in process right now without having done that and learning the importance of going through that. So that was a big one in 2018 because there was a lot involved with that, but I'm glad that we did it for sure. Another big one, number 7, was coming to the true internal acceptance and realization for all the time that we spend on YouTube, not to focus solely on views. And you hear that all the time. You hear people say that. You may hear your friends say that. You may hear thought leaders say that. But until you really take that into account yourself and really believe it and then see how it affects you is really actually kind of a special thing, you know. And I know this will change from time to time, but, you know, just pulling up, starting doing random NCAA 2014 football videos on the channel. Yeah, it's out of line with what all the other stuff we do, but it's a lot of fun. And if I had been worried about views, I never would have brought that to the main channel. And then it's funny, you know, I look at this video we posted yesterday, the 2018 Orange Bowl between Alabama and Oklahoma, had 2,700 views in less than 24 hours. You know, so it's just funny to come to that realization and just kind of just do what you want to do creatively and see what happens and try it and not be focused only on the views is the fun thing. And then I feel like that was a big thing that, you know, I've been doing YouTube since 2011, 2012, and to realize that 6 years later is a good and important realization. And I'm glad that came to a head in 2018, really at the end. Another big thing that happened, number 6, is we did some new collabs with new people, you know, outside of the circle of people that we know. These were two collaborations in particular with both Deadly Slob and Markstrom, 2 people I met entirely through Twitch and just organically, right? Organically meaning not through other friends like the NLSS crew or, you know, other friends that I have made in the past, but really just started from becoming a community member in Deadly Slob's channel and you know, went from a collaboration with Deadly Slob and Markstrom. And it's fun to do those sort of things when it happens naturally and it's a good fit. And so I feel like those were 2 things that, you know, were definitely in the top 10 things that happened in 2018 that we did. And it was good because, you know, you connect with other people, you get to know other people. And in particular with these 2 guys, it's good. You know, I don't inside baseball with them maybe as much as I'd like, but having more people to bounce ideas off of that are in the same line of trying to do the same thing, it's been really good. And I'm super excited about that and looking forward to doing more with both of them, as well as new people. One of the things that's in my head too is that, you know, I feel like over time, even there may even be some now, there's people in the community that are starting to do their thing. And I look forward to that at some point where, you know, collaborating with people within the community that are truly dialed in and committed. And I feel like that's one of the things that I'm going to be open to in the next year is that if there are people that are part of the community that I may not be aware of, but, you know, just always looking to do stuff with new people all the time. And because it's fun. And I just think there's a lot of good things that can come from that. The number 5 thing that happened in 2018 is I kind of let go of the YouTube process and trying to manage everything. And I got to a point where it started to become a lot. I'm like, okay, hey, look, you need to hire someone. So I think 2 big additions to the team was definitely hiring Zane, the editor, who actually is doing things a lot different, or Zane is doing things that wasn't on how I imagined him doing things. I imagined him editing like 20 videos a month, and that was it. And really, he doesn't edit 20 videos a month, but what he does is he frees up a lot of time and, you know, does a lot of the back end management on stuff, creates thumbnails where it makes it easy for me. So I just upload a video and he kind of takes care of the rest. And it's been a process, right? Because part of the thing for me is being able to let go of the thumbnails. There's times when, you know, I want to adjust one of his thumbnails, and over time you're like, all right, look, it's okay. It doesn't have to be exactly how you want it, but over time it'll get there. And so I think that was a big one. And then also bringing on a producer for the podcast which is an interesting story. We'll get into that at some point. But basically, for the podcast, what I do, I got to a point. It didn't start out like this, but sent a beacon out there, and now it's to a point where I literally record the intro audio, type up the title, description, email it out, and then I'm done with it. And we have a really good producer for the podcast named Ty, and we'll get into how that happened in a future episode. But bringing on Zane and Ty to the team internally has been huge in 2018. The number 4 thing that happened in 2018 was playing through Dark Souls, and more importantly, the birth of a character that's become pretty big in the community and really across a bunch of games. And you know, we made up this character, Surso Yeet, and just having kind of this character evolve through Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 2 and even other games we played, you know, sounds, if you have no idea what it's about or anything, you may not understand, but it's like almost like an internal mascot and a mascot for the community that's been a lot of fun. And it's just one of those things that you can't force it. You can't manufacture. It just happens organically. And this is one of those things that happen organically that I think a lot of people in the community enjoy. I get a kick out of it. And it almost like it allows us to create a narrative and a story through many different games, regardless of if they're in the Dark Souls trilogy or not. And it's become a lot of fun and something I feel like creatively has been really important and not really something that's like, that should be understated. I think there's a lot of importance behind that, and I'm excited that it happened in 2018. The number 3 thing that happened in 2018 that we physically did was we focused a lot on cleaning up the Discord and focusing a lot of time on the community in terms of developing it to what people want in the community. And in no way is it 100% dialed in so what everyone wants, but I think it's come a long ways in 2018. A lot of that is through the help of a lot of moderators. A lot of that is through the help of all the feedback in the community. A lot of it, you know what? If I were to look at the community in Discord a year ago, it was really kind of quiet, not a lot of activity, versus now it's like it's bustling. There's always stuff going on. And to me, that's what's exciting, right? It means that everything's kind of working, because at the end of the day, that's what's most important, is a community, that a community is being established of people that are positive, supportive, and have fun together. That's what it's about. And to see that activity and to see it growing, you know, that means a lot. And that's the reason why we do what we do here. So to have that, you know, be growing and progressing as it is, it's really exciting. The number 2 thing that happened in 2018 that I think was really good was the start of the podcast. You know, it's always been in the back of my head of something I wanted to do. I would toss the idea back and forth and try to come up with ideas and titles and things like that. And it just came down to just really getting a subtle, indirect jab from, not even jab, push from Deadly Slop, seeing him start his podcast and just saying, hey, go, Dan, just document, keep it as your audio journal, bring on people to interview, and just keep it not casual, but don't think so much about it. Have your show notes, go and put it out every single Monday, 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. People know when and how to listen to it, and just keep rolling with it. And so I think that was the number 2 thing. With the number 1 thing the number 1 thing in 2018 that happened, and it's one of those things where it's like, you're glad you did it, but you didn't realize the importance of it until after it's gone. And really that was starting the second YouTube channel. We've gotten to a point where we're creating so much content. And I really, you guys know, we talked about flooding the main channel with videos and content. But beyond that, making it easily accessible for people to watch Twitch VODs how they want to watch them. Because I think Twitch is great at live streaming and developing a live streaming platform, but their video archive or video on demand, you know, needs some work. So in the meantime, while that's going on, you know, to really create this second channel, to make it as easy as possible for the community, people that miss shows, even open it up for new people to get a chance to watch these videos how they want them, has been really important. And really that's where Zane, the editor, has really excelled at, is, you know, he's in the driver's wheel for channel 2, and, you know, I may be the GPS, but that's about it. And so to see the combination of that, and, you know, channel 2's going well, and really, you know, being a service, or not even a service, but a making it easy for people to watch videos they want to watch has been pretty important. And so I'm really excited about that. If I look back in 2018, it was really close between starting the podcast and the second YouTube channel. But I can't even tell you internally, almost like having the second channel, I just didn't. It just feels good, right? Because there's a point when we're making all this content on Twitch, and you almost feel like it's a great show, and it's working well on Twitch. But I don't want to say wasting it, but not squeezing all the juice out of the orange. And I feel like by having this second channel, youtube.com/Dan Gheesling Plays, squeezes some more juice out of that content that's just kind of sitting out there. So that was the top 10 things of 2018. You know, I look back at the year, and this was a really big year. You know, I don't talk too much about revenue and that kind of stuff, but you know, this was the last quarter of the year, last half of the year. It's really kind of the community and everything's kind of propelled to a stage where, you know, I could start to focus even more energy on it, because it's getting there. It's getting to a point where it's grown a lot from even a revenue standpoint, where it's like, hey, this thing is starting to get some legs, and I almost feel like I need to continue to even do a much, much better job of being like a good steward of it, and not taking it for granted, and continuing to focus on the community and delivering in that fashion, because it's been really important. You know, I remember when I started out on Twitch, how things were versus if I were to get a brief snapshot, you know, say 2 years ago of how things look now, I would be, you know, I don't know. I'm just super grateful for how things have gone, and I'm very cautious at the same time, still doing my best to continue to grow things and not, you know, not get too ahead of ourselves here. But with that being said, I want to wish everyone a happy 2019. I hope you guys have a great one. I hope you get a chance to dial in and set whatever you need to do for the new year. And I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I look forward to releasing even more fresh podcasts for you guys every Monday morning. And, you know, excited that you guys are part of the community. So with that being said, I wish you a happy new year, a happy 2019. And I look forward for the year to come. Thank you guys so much for dialing in, and I will see you guys next Monday.